the biggest concerns that I had with Project Motor Racing don't seem to be addressed in the slightest.
It feels as if the developer is just relying on its user base to fix or report all these issues. The game is out tomorrow.
Project Motor Racing is really rough.
I don't think that's what would happen if you had a shunt at that particular area of the track. But yeah, damage model needs some work.
I would say this game lied to me.
It doesn't feel finished. It feels like it needs like another year.
I am really not seeing that much of a difference with the launch version of the game compared to the press version of the game.
The way the game was marketed and stuff like that, that's absolute nowhere close to what it is.
My t-shirt is slightly too tight.
It's unfinished. Project Motor Racing. Ooh. Cool. You actually had us excited there. We were looking forward to this title, and this sim has had a bit of a misfired launch, or as I'd like to call it, a Titan implosion. Before we jump into it, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button, like, please. I'm really trying here. That's me begging done. Let's move on with the video. This was the racing sim I was most looking forward to all year. A true spiritual successor to Project Cars, and maybe, just maybe, it'll actually fulfill on all of its promises. And did it? Not even close. This sim is unfinished, and the cost of all this excitement is 50 of your hard-earned doubloons. Now, we've all experienced this before with other sim titles that have come out in early access, but the problem here is, this game is not early access. This game has come out as a 1.0, which means this is how they intended the game to come out. So, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. This sim runs horribly. Now, I'm running on an RTX 3080. Now, it's not the most powerful graphics card on the market now, I understand that, but it's not a slouch either. It's still quite beefy. And I'm running with 64 gigs of RAM, and I'm running on a Ryzen 9 5900X, which is more than enough to be able to do sim racing today. Even with the graphics in the game turned right down, this game runs like it has obesity. Like, it is terrible. This is undrivable. This is absolutely this is unusable. So I just do that now. That's completely useless. I don't know where I'm at. Oh, I'm gonna throw a tantrum in a second. There was one point where the game was stuttering so bad I couldn't even get out of the pit lane. Oh. I can't even get out the pit. And to be honest, the graphics, even on like ultra settings, they're not that good, to be honest. Now, after I did this recording of me driving around and testing the game, I went and checked out a bunch of my my friends' videos based around this game. I went and looked at Jimmy's, I went and looked at Random Call Signs, Gamer Muscles, and I think Jimmy sums this up perfectly. The game looks like it's from 2015. Like, it feels like a dated game, and it's just come out. Like, if I have a full grid, it seems to run... What on earth is that crowd? What is... That's horrific.
That is absolutely lifeless.
Now, let us be clear that graphics are not everything when it comes to, racing games. Like, you can have a racing title that looks beautiful, but drives like absolute garbage. Like Need for Speed 2015, for example. That is one of the most beautiful car games ever, but one of the worst driving experiences. I know this is not a sim racing title, granted, but like, it's just an example of good looks doesn't mean you've got a good personality. That's all I'm saying. But in PMR's case, this game both looks bad and runs terribly. But Project Cars 2 looks better than this. And those games came out 10 plus years ago. This came out 2 days ago. Now, while I was fiddling with the graphical settings, it did force me to have a look at the menus, and they're poor. Like, the main settings of the game, they're alright. They're simple, they work, that's okay. But the car setup menu is pretty bad. It's just info layered upon info.
I'm not gonna lie, I hate this. This is one of the weakest elements about Project Cars 2, is the car setup layout. Absolutely hated it, and it's basically copied and pasted.
Now, when I actually did get the game running somewhat smoothly, it meant that I could actually take the game for a drive. Now, to make this fair, I drove almost every kind of car in the game. I did some online races with the Aston Martin DB-R9 for GT1. I did the license tests in the Mazda MX-5. I even went around Daytona in the LMDHs, and not a single car felt satisfying to drive. Or realistic, for that matter. The LMDHs, for example, you don't feel connected to the road whatsoever. You go into a corner, it wobbles all over the place, and then when you come to, go out of a corner, you just bury your throttle, and then it does a little twitch and wiggles around. Now, cars like these are meant to be very planted. They are downforce monsters. But when I was driving the Cadillac around Daytona, like just coming onto the banked section and going onto the straight, the car was all over the place. Like I said, I didn't feel like I was connected to the ground. It felt more like I was driving a high-speed hovercraft. At times, it felt like the fastest way to get around a corner in the LMDH was to enter the corner sideways. Like, literally slide into the corner until it grips up and then just straight line the exit. That isn't realistic. That's what you do in Trackmania. The only car that I felt like had any slight resemblance to reality was the Mazda MX-5. But even still, going around a racetrack for 8 laps, I don't think I got consistent once. I could enter the same corner on 2 different occasions and do the exact same thing and get very different results. It doesn't help that the bad physics of the game are partnered with the bad force feedback. And while we're on the subject of force feedback, let's talk about it. This has become such an issue with the online sim racing community that Ian Bell himself has tweeted out like a little how-to guide of how to set up your force feedback. You know it's bad when the person who is the face of the entire game has to come out and basically give you a handbook on how to set up your force feedback. I have 2 opinions when it comes to the force feedback. My first opinion is how I first experienced the game, so the baseline setup of the game. And my second opinion is of the force feedback after I've done some tweaking following Ian Bell's little guide. The problem with these 2 opinions is that they're exactly the same. This has to be one of the most vague, numb, zombie-like force feedbacks I've experienced in a long time. Like, you guys remember when I made this video where I tested out Forza Motorsport 7 with a direct drive wheel? It feels like that. Most of the time, I'm just getting force. I know I haven't been very kind to this sim at all, but the force feedback is crap. The worst force feedback in the game for me was with the Mazda MX-5. That is as dead and as limp as it gets. There is no feeling whatsoever. I was driving in the license test race around Lime Rock, and I could not feel what the car was doing mid-corner at all.
Oh, force feedback's gone. Oh, it's back. What? I'm sorry, what? I can't feel it. Don't know where the car's gone. What? That is nothing. Don't feel anything. It's just force. I turn it, there's nothing. I don't feel anything. It's just resisting against my hand. I'm glad that I didn't pay a single penny for this. But I feel bad for the people that provided the key for me.
And while we're on the subject of this race in particular, Yes, this is a license test. Now, I wanted to go and test out the ranked racing just to see what the online racing aspect was like. But in order to do that, you need to do a license test. Now, how license tests normally go, like let's use Gran Turismo for example, and say you got 3 tests. You would probably get like one that does like a hot lap, you'd probably get another one that has like a 1 versus 1, and then you would have like a full-on race. Let's be generous and say you get one that's like an obstacle course, so you get like used to the way the car feels. Not in Project Motor Racing, because the license test is just one license test, and it throws you straight into a race. No getting used to the car, no training or anything like that. It just throws you in and goes, not my problem anymore. Good luck. This has to be the worst example of a license test or some kind of like training tutorial kind of thing I have ever seen in a game. Now, if you're a first-time sim racer and you've never done sim racing before, and for some reason you decide to use PMR as your first sim racing title, this license test is not the easiest thing in the world. It's actually quite difficult because the AI in this game cheat. In a lot of instances in this race, I'm racing, trying to catch up to the AI in front, and they can just do things that my car can't. They just have more grip. They just do. Now, when I watched Jimmy's video about this sim, there was one point where he mentioned where he thinks that the AI in this game is running on a different physics engine to the player. And after testing the MX-5s in particular, I think he's got a point, because the AI, for some reason, has got more grip than you. The AI is actually able to do things that you simply can't in your car. But hey, look, while we're on the subject of the AI, let's talk about a positive, because what this game gives you is an invisibility cloak. That's right. You've got an invisibility cloak in this game because the AI cannot see you.
So apparently the strategy to start the car is just dump the throttle. And I was pushed off, you muppet! The AI doesn't even know I'm there, man.
Even in the pit lane.
Oh my goodness, Jimmy wasn't kidding.
Clear of pit lane.
What is this AI? I was just testing the throttle there.
Now, is there any positives that I do have about this game? Believe it or not, there actually is a positive that I do like about this game, and that is the car and track variety that you get. Now, while it's not the biggest selection in the world, you actually do get a decent variety of different kinds of tracks. Like, for example, Motorsport is in the game, a Canadian racetrack. Now, Motorsport isn't a track that I normally see in sim racing titles, and it's the same that goes for Lexington as well. The only title I've seen Lexington being used in is Race Room, another sim racing title that I don't actually like, but hey ho, it's, you know, it's there. But it's also the same for the car selection as well. Like, there's a whole class of car that I'd never even heard of before called NGT. Now, most of the cars I had heard of, but I didn't realize they were their own separate class. And the car selection is actually quite juicy. I really do like this. Like, it has the Mosler, it has the TVR Tuscan, even the Morgan Aero 8 GT car, which is really rare to see in a racing game. And man, was it cool to look at. Which brings me neatly onto the car models themselves. The car models are actually brilliant. I really like the detail that they've gone into with the car models. But as far as positives go, that's unfortunately where that ends, sadly. Because when it comes to content of this game, there is already DLC. Already. Day 1 DLC. There's 2 car packs that you can buy. Now, I don't know about you, but having DLC Day 1 I think is just unacceptable, to be honest. Now, my final verdict on the game is, would I recommend it? No. Sorry. It's just, for a £50 game, this is just not acceptable. This, I feel, was Ian Bell's last chance to redeem himself, especially after all the broken promises going back to, you know, Project Cars. And now I think this is just Ian Bell's end. Like, nobody's gonna trust him now. Nobody. Like, I was looking forward to this title more than anything. I feel like I've been catfished at a Tinder date, you know?
I think the woman above my head is having a sneezing fit right now. Can we just start like calling Ian Bell the Peter Molyneux of the sim racing world? That is exactly what he is right now. This is a 1.0. This is the actual launch of the game. How did they look at this and go, yes, that's ready? Look, this is more a message to go out to other sim racing content creators. We need to stop using such polite language to describe botched launches like this. Like, oh, the game's just not ready. Oh, this game just needs a little bit more development. No, we need to tell it like it is. It's crap. I was looking so forward to this game. More than any other sim racing title this year. It is crap. I'm genuinely upset. Quick game. Yes. Yes! Or instead of closing the game, you could just crash. Oh, but our data tells us that nobody has actually quit the game. Everybody is still playing.
In conclusion, no, I do not recommend this game. I do not recommend that you waste your money on this game. If you have enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, and if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. I would actually really appreciate that. Go and check out my sponsors over there on the left-hand side of the screen, and as always, have a good night, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Have a good night, everybody. Talk to you all later.